Welcome to some One Piece action. If you're new to the channel, please give us a subscribe. If you're a returning viewer and have not subscribed yet, please give us a subscribe. It definitely helps the channel grow. All right. So we got our Arlong, made some changes. I really think that that universal event search is just pretty good or great. So I don't know if I said this in other videos, can never really remember. But essentially, there are so many decks that we've built or attempted to build that it was like, man, there's no search system. There's no way to assure our curve. Didn't want to use guarantee. Now I got to look up assure because I don't know if that's basically the same thing as saying guarantee. I have no idea. But the point is, it was like, okay, where can we get some level of consistency here? We can't. Everything's a top deck. Maybe we should scrap this idea. So now that this event is out, it's like, wait a minute. All those decks with these miscellaneous builds, we can essentially just go right back into them. But we can't remember them. So we're just making new decks. So Arlong was one of the decks that was like, wait, time out. We can play this event. Help us catch our curve, see stuff like this. Help us find our top end, like the shanks that you see, you know? And this is a good thing. Maybe there'll eventually be a character with some sort of similar ability. I would say maybe, you know how like the draw Vivi, I think you need to have a dual color leader, right? So maybe something like that. Or it's just, well, let me split the idea I was about to say. So either you need a dual color leader, or you need a character with a certain cost and an attack value that is way underpowered for that cost, because there is a particular value you do get from developing a search character, which would be, hey, I could just throw some Dawn on this and swing. And then that usually turns into a blocker because a lot of the times an opponent would just attack the searcher because they don't want you to do that again. They don't want you attacking again. Sometimes an executive decision is made, I would say. Ooh. Man. Okay, that actually works out like overall way better. Maybe. Or maybe if we had took the first life and then we rested a random character, blah, blah, blah. Man, that Karubi would have set up great for Shanks, but yeah, Rosinante being on the board, yeah, that did change things. That's the power of just something having 6K. Okay, I see. We just got a character on the board essentially. Now, they're probably going to try to push for the game. And then we have a blocker. They only have 2 Dawn. There's nothing in the game to my knowledge that can take our blocker off the board. So, yeah, next turn. That all worked out in a great way. But yeah, I think it's especially with this rotation that's going to happen next year, I think they should start coming out with more characters with low attack value. Because it's like vanillas are irrelevant. They're worthless essentially. I think the best way to make them worth it is to start really underpowering the attack value of effect characters. That's all. I think that's a simple fix. Because in my mind, even though it's difficult, right? It's difficult, respectfully. It's like, why create a bunch of irrelevant cards? That's crazy. We have 2 back to back. And that probably would have been so effective against a different leader. Ooh, right back at you. Get mad. Oh, okay, they chucked that hand. Yeah, that new buggy's pretty cool. Like specifically for Arlong, that new buggy's cool. Oh, they just did that. 2K. And I'm sure we're gonna attack the board. Karubi attacks Momonosuke. I'm guessing leader swing on Cat Viper. And then we also have the buggy swing. So we have the means to take the board out. They only got 2 cards in their hand. And we should develop a blocker. I would say develop a blocker and leave 2 up for Punk Gibson. Yes. Get that blocker. Please get the blocker. Why are we counting Dawn? Oh, I get it. Okay. Trying to get the most value out of it. So you play the 4 because you can. What? Okay. I guess our confidence is there. Oh, that's funny. I can't remember the full effect of that card. Oh, that's why they did that. So we can attack with Arlong, rest Momonosuke, and most likely push for lethal next turn. They only got 1 card in their hand. Swing for 7. That eats up 3 Dondo. Oh, okay, that's fine. And then that's it. That's a game. Yeah, that search card just makes the Arlong deck, or at least what we came up with, a lot more consistent. And then that buggy allows for a higher level of aggression. Because what I mean by that is, or maybe threat. Let's say threat. Let's use that word. Because nobody wants to get hit with a double attack or a banish, right? Especially depending on at what point in the game. So it usually encourages people to just drop their hand, especially since it's like, oh, like Yamato's different because it's built into the leader. You know, you can't keep dropping your hand because it's built into the leader. They could do it every turn. But when it's not built in, when it's because of an effect, it's like, okay, if I just counter out of this one, I don't have to worry about this happening again. Such an early start. I wouldn't be surprised if we go buggy. Okay, I respect it. Because they're most inclined to take this one. And then when we then use the buggy, they'll probably try to counter out of it. Now, sometimes you just want people to counter out because it puts them in a position where they are very vulnerable later in the game. You know? So it's not always a bad thing, people countering out. That's how I see double attack at this point. To me, it's more of a comeback factor than being able to win more or whatever. Because it's like, if the opponent is smart enough, they calculate, they usually take well, at least in Yamato's perspective, everybody takes like the first attack, save their hand, develop their board, play their blockers, work their way around it. But if their hand is low and you're behind, in theory, right? But their hand is low, you double attack, they take 2. Now all of a sudden you're back in the game. So I always see double attack as a comeback factor. But anyway, speaking on why the Basil play was pretty good is because now to do the double attack, it would more than likely encourage the Zoro player to check their hand because they don't want to go to 2. They might have been comfortable going to 3, but now that, oh my God. Well, okay then. They are comfortable going to 2. And you know what? Rightfully so. You shouldn't be scared to play at 2 life. You know what I'm saying? It's like I used to say, especially for Purple Kaido, the game don't start till you're at 2. I later learned for like the majority of the leaders, the game don't start till you're at 2 life. So I just figured, you know what? That just might be One Piece. Unless you're Red, Purple, Luffy, then it's like the game starts at 1 life, 100%. You gotta survive. I was about to, you know what probably just happened? They were just probably unaware. That's hilarious. They're like, oh sure, I'll take that swing, and then they was just waiting. So we have to survive this onslaught because, respectfully, depending on their decision making, they might have 4 attacks that we have to deal with. And of course, I'm sure they're more than likely going to ignore the Basil because that'll just put them at the 1, and I doubt they want that. So I think for the opponent, it's more effective for them to just swing at our life. But then again, it's not like we don't have a hand size to help us with that barrage of attacks. We technically have the hand size. We could definitely afford to take 1 and start countering out of the others. See, in situations like this, I'm always happy to see somebody play cards out of their hand because they play cards. That means they got less Dawn to be scary. That's just how I see it. It's like, now that you played that, you had 3 less Dawn. These swings could have been like 7. That would have been way scarier for us. So now they do have a hand, and they got 2 life. And that board is threatening lethal next turn, in my opinion. That's 6 attacks. That's kind of insane. I don't think you want to save that. You probably would let that go. And then if you really wanted to protect something, it should be the chopper. Okay. I was wondering if there was going to be a Karubi play in that, but at this point, it doesn't make sense. We only got 1 more attack. I'm sure we're developing blockers. Sanjit and Brule. And then the rest is counter power. And we got 2 life. So essentially, they got to get 5 attacks through. No less than 5 attacks per game is what I'm trying to say. And luckily for us, if there's a 5th attack, it probably wouldn't be strong. We have a 2K and some 1Ks. So we should be okay, especially since we might catch some nice triggers. I don't know. I'm so happy with the state of One Piece right now. But maybe that's because there's so many cards at this point in the game. So it feels like you can kind of just do anything you want. And it's more so, yes, the search cards have made me excited. Because there's just so many miscellaneous builds. Like, you don't mean to. You're like, oh, this would be good. This would be good. This would be good. And then you're like, wait a minute. Oh, that definitely helps us. But that sucks. Okay. I was like, oh, we might be able to pluck a 2K counter, but we would have had to, like, Edison or Frankie would have had to pop up. I'm not even sure was Wire and Heat a 2K or just a 1K. I just assumed it was a 2K for some reason. We still got plenty of 1K potential. I low-key think he might develop a chopper, so let's try to keep that Karubi in hand. We could definitely block at this point. We have a life, we have a blocker. We don't need to chuck cards anymore. I know we have to be respectful of a Diablo Jambe play, so that's why we're chucking. But Brulee's a 1000 power, so we definitely could have just blocked that. Or you can Edison if you want. Yeah, there you go. It's a 2K, why not? Now this is the part where the Zoro probably feels like they effed up. And they haven't developed a blocker. They have so much hand though. I feel like this feels scary. Do they not have a bunch of counter power though? Is the question. Obviously a Dawn stack and swing because all the available attacks is 5K. So mathematically, it doesn't matter. It's funny to always assume 2Ks, right? Well, better safe than sorry. A G?